Let's go. Good morning,
Hello.
Roll Gang.
Hello.
Welcome on inside to an extremely special episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. Got the boy, Josh Kasoff on the show.
How's it going, everyone? Happy Hanukkah, brother.
Happy Hanukkah, my
Doing?
man.
Doing?
What a festive time of the year.
Festive time indeed.
It's like one of the best, isn't it? Have you
Festival of
celebrated
Lights.
every year for how many
Every
years?
year. Whole life.
Yeah.
Sufganiyot, latkes, dreidels.
Whole nine.
We got the
Let's go.
Sufganiyot.
Sufganiyot.
We got the gelt.
Bunch
We
of
got
gelt.
some coins.
Let's go. Some chocolate money.
And of course, I don't know if they can see it, but...
The dreidel. Yo, roll it on your tray.
Okay.
Yes. Yo, nice spin.
Spin technique.
Nice
I still
spin.
got
How
it.
about that? You must be Jewish, huh?
You know it.
Yo,
All right,
same
probably.
here. Got two tribesmen on the Wake and Bake for you guys this
Happy Hanukkah,
morning.
y'all.
Two Hanukkah stoners about to wake and bake. As you can see, there's only 3 candles because the 4th candle is our joint. So we're gonna smoke up a joint, a nice Hanukkah candle joint, and talk about some season, talk about some cannabis journalism. The boy is a stud over here. And yeah, get on into some cannabis content.
Right.
Super hyped to chop it up with you. How's your morning going
Excellent.
so far, Josh?
Excellent. Got some fresh Sufganiyot for us.
Yeah.
Got a menorah lighting at downtown Summerlin later today.
Let's go. You actually do?
Yeah, it's in downtown Summerlin, yeah. So if you're in downtown Summerlin, come to the menorah lighting. It's 4 p.m.
Yo, a 420 menorah lighting. That sounds super fun.
But it is. It's a very special holiday.
Shit, if I wasn't working, I'd definitely be there. But,
God
yo,
hustle.
yeah, it is going to be a really fun one this season. This is my second Hanukkah in Las Vegas, but first since I've known anybody. Have you been here your whole life, or?
So I moved here about, almost 4 years ago now.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was, growing up in Texas, born and raised there. Graduated,
Texas.
went to school there and everything. And then, life kind of grew stagnant, if you want to call it that. Just nothing was happening in Texas, not even cannabis related. Just personally, nothing new was, life growing stagnant, nothing really happening.
I feel that.
And so, yeah, about 4 years ago now, I made the decision to move out here. I had been covering journalism covering cannabis from a journalism sense for like a year or so by then. And I thought, in a very Hunter S. Thompson gonzo journalism way, the best way to cover cannabis would just be come out here, work in the industry, go to advocacy events, get to know everyone, and cover it from there. Become part of the story as opposed to just covering it from afar. And you see that a lot.
Genius.
And you do see that a lot with, the big news stations and mainstream media, if you want to call it that, how they cover cannabis. A lot of misinformation, a lot of...
Fact.
Yeah, a lot of, misinformation, a lot of what they say is fact is not, what they say, oh, this is absolutely the policy, it's not the policy. There's a lot of gray area, especially in states like where I'm from, Texas, other more red states. There's a lot of misconstrued legal advice. And
No doubt.
It's legal in this county, but it's not legal in this county. You go 2 counties north, it's legal there. It all comes down to how the district attorney of that county feels. So that's what really got me into it. It was just wanting to, actually have informative cannabis content.
Yeah.
Beyond just, and there's so much more to cannabis than just, here's a cool strain.
Literally. It's a whole culture. It's a whole industry.
Whole industry. There's business, there's law, there's politics, there's
And it's all
lifestyle.
baby. Like, it's all baby. Like, none of it's been going on for decades. So, like, you covering it is super foresightful. This industry is just booming all of a sudden, and I think it's going to be a major part of our future. So you and I definitely, with the foresightful career choices, claiming our stake in this amazing industry.
Absolutely.
Yo, super hyped to smoke this up with you, but before we spark up and talk about our cannabis content of the day, major shout out to the sponsors of the show because they make it happen for the Weekday Wake and Bake while helping out the Roll Gangsters along the way. First and foremost, the Rolling Spoon Cannabis Multi-Tool. Helping to roll a dime every time. You guys could just see me scooping my herb to my paper right here, using my little poker to get us ready. This is basically our fourth candle. I'm going to go ahead and put it right here for a minute. And also, today's episode is brought to you by Oaksterdam University, the first cannabis college.
Amazing college.
Yeah, 15 Great years in the making. If you are looking to learn about home grow or how to start your own cannabis business, Oaksterdam's the place to go. Use promo code Rolling Spoon for 10% off your home grow course and learn how to grow some pot because it is a fucking plant. We're about to smoke a plant and it's a lot of fun. So Oaksterdam is the place to go to learn. But let's get on into Josh's story. We're gonna light up this menorah.
Let's go.
Do a little prayer.
Absolutely.
And the fourth candle is our joint. How many Jews be doing it like this? Yo, legendary. Here, you want to spark the shamus?
I would love to.
Let's go. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav tzivanu al hadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Let's go.
Happy Hanukkah, y'all.
Happy Hanukkah, Roll Gangsters. Happy Hanukkah, Josh.
Always remember, every light on a menorah is a light against anti-Semitism.
That is true. Every single one.
And I've got some technical difficulties here.
Yeah, yo, I feel it. Some candle difficulties.
Mother. My rabbi's watching this. If my mom's watching this, sorry, I'm trying my best here.
Yo, you're doing good,
there
actually.
We go.
You got it. Yeah, spark that, baby. And then here, give it, Happy Hanukkah! Let's go!
Thanks, sir. Happy Hanukkah, y'all. Day 4, let's do it.
That fourth candle's the best one. I think I nailed a little wax. Not actually.
Yeah, let's be like, you missed this one?
Yo, super fucking, that was probably my favorite menorah lighting ever. Live on the Wake and Bake. On Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Yo, I got the OG homie, Josh Kasoff, legendary cannabis journalist here in Las Vegas. How did you go about, so you're like a great writer.
Thank you.
And you're like, all right, I'm a stoner. Let's try to mix this. How did you come up with this concoction?
So, started using cannabis in college like a lot of people did. At first it was just something fun me and the homies would do.
Yeah.
I didn't really see any legalization. I didn't see any writing. I didn't ever see getting published by writing articles about it. It was just something fun we liked doing because we were rebellious college students. And so smoked it a lot, graduated college, and then I think it was like a year or so after I graduated, I was just, like I said, really bored with life. Nothing was really happening. And so I saw, more and more states starting to legalize. This was 2016, 2017. So a lot of states, this is when the big legalization pushes were happening. And so I just started all right, I'll write an article about this state legalizing, and then this state legalizing. And then it was summer of 2017. We had a fraternity convention out here. Shout out to 8pi. And so we actually went, that was our first time, me and my best friend, going to a dispensary. And we just saw it all. We went to the Essence on Tropicana, and we went to Reef. And
Yo!
I think we were going to go to Acres, but I was too drunk to go in.
No.
We had been drinking the whole weekend as well, so I was just like...
You went to the perfect too.
It was, and just seeing how, large the legal industry is coming from Texas, where it's completely illegal. Any amount will get you thrown in jail, at the time at least.
Yeah.
Just going from it's super illegal, it's super dangerous, to a multi-million-dollar industry.
Yeah.
It was incredible to see. And so from there, I realized that there is a tremendous amount of journalism content surrounding this plant. Both law, politics, lifestyle, music, art, entertainment. There's just so much to cover about this plant. And so kept covering cannabis for like another year or so. While I was still in Texas, actually, I was covering events that were going on out here. I was covering events in California.
From Texas. Holy shit, long distance coverage.
Oh, I was covering about like Texas politicians and their views on cannabis and how they previously voted on cannabis while still in Texas.
That is fucking crazy, bro. That's honestly crazy. Texas is scary for pot.
And this is gonna sound super petty, but so wrote about cannabis, law, and politics for another year or so, and then December of 2018. Like I said, super petty, but I got a speeding ticket in a Catholic school zone. Of all places for a Jew to get a speeding ticket, a Catholic school zone. And I got the speeding ticket, and it was in a school zone, so it was like, yeah. So after that, I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like,
see ya, Texas.
I'll miss it, but, Vegas just seems like greener pastures. The desert seems like greener pastures.
Isn't that ironic?
And so I just, started looking at, affordable ways to live in Vegas. Hit up Moishe House, the Jewish organization. They really helped me get on my feet out here. Started hosting events, both in the Jewish community, and then I started, I got involved with Normal when I first got out here. Met a lot of people that way. Just by interviewing people. I hit the ground running with the interviews. I was interviewing, marketers. I was interviewing other business owners in the cannabis industry, like, right when I got here. Like, I moved here February of 2019, and I was published May of 2019. And R.I.P. Elevate Nevada. That was, my first magazine I wrote for out here.
Really?
R.I.P. Great stories, though. It was such a great experience. It really was. Being able to interview all the people I did. I interviewed Rob Van Dam with Elevate. That was pretty cool.
Yo,
I met
get out.
The wrestler. Oh, he's a cannabis guy. I've interviewed The Godfather as well. I've gotten to smoke with The Godfather. That was watching him growing up. I grew up with the WWE Attitude Era, so all the hijinks that ensued in that era. Let's say, Rob Van Dam, 420, the whole fucking show, and then The Godfather, of course, coming out. Roll of fatty for this pimp daddy.
I love it.
All the ladies, let's say, that he came to the ring with, which was hilarious because I was like 7 years old watching The Godfather.
Yeah.
And he said, "This is my hoe train." And
you were 7.
Yes, and flash forward 20 years when I finally interviewed him, and I told him, I'm like, my very socially conservative Jewish parents at the time, they had a hard time explaining what the hoe train was to me because I was 7.
Mom, what's the hoe train?
And I was like, my dad was just like, he has a lot of lady friends. I was like, okay. I was like 7. What was I going to say in response?
That's so fucking funny.
And so, so I just started getting the ground,
you hit the ground running.
Right when I got here on lifestyle, then law, then politics, getting in touch with some lawyers, getting in touch with a lot of advocates, met a lot of great people that way. A lot of people who were with, Chamber of Cannabis, CEIC, Lady Led Collabs, a lot of people I met through the big cannabis organizations in town. I met a lot of them when I first got here. So it was great contacts, like right immediately when I got here was getting involved in the community, getting involved in advocacy.
But honestly, that's hard to do. Like, you make it seem easy, like, honestly, it takes a lot of hustle and grind, and that's basically what makes anybody good at what they do.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and especially as a freelancer, you are, as my great mentor in journalism, Nardwar, the human serviette.
Shout out Nardwar.
Oh, Nardwar is the best, one of the best journalists probably in the world, and so he's been doing those interviews. He's been doing it for over 30 years. He has an interview with Kurt Cobain. Like, that's how long he's been doing this for. And he did a TED Talk, which I highly recommend watching Nardwar's TED Talk. He said, how did I get an interview with Kurt Cobain? How did I get an interview with Jay-Z? How did I get an interview with, like, all these big names that he's interviewed? He said, how did I get an interview with them? Because I asked.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Holy shit.
That's great advice as a freelancer because the worst they can say is no. The worst that happens is you don't get emailed back, and that's that. But like, I was talking about doing The Godfather. That was a story, like an email I sent, like, let's see if I get a response. I imagine he's a really busy guy, WWE Hall of Famer.
No doubt.
But he himself just responded to me. He was like, yeah, let's set up a time.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
So yeah, never be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
And yeah, worst thing you could say is no. And especially what Nardwar said is, as an independent, you send the emails for the stories, you write the stories, you publish publish the stories, but you edit the stories, you take the photos.
It's your baby.
Videos. Yeah.
It's your whole ass baby.
The entire creative process, which can be really cool, but at the same time, it is a lot of work.
Yep.
It's not just you record your part and then it's sent to someone else and they edit it. Like especially for the video series I did, on the series called What's in a Name, where I went into the stories behind certain cannabis strains. Not just it's a cool name, but what's the story behind it? Is it named after a person or a group of people, or if it's named after a certain location? What's an interesting story about cannabis in that location?
Shout out Floor, Bushido G.
Oh, the Bushido story in particular.
Unbelievable.
You saw the story. It was I really expected just to be Sven with Floor. If you're watching, shout out to Sven. When I first heard about that strain, my friend told me that it was named after one of Sven's friends, and so I thought it was really interesting. So I went into the interview with Sven, mainly just talking about the strain itself, and I thought I was just going to talk about his friend a little, and then go into mainly the strain. But when I looked more into the story of his friend, that his friend was an immigrant and refugee from Burma, Myanmar. That he didn't just immigrate here; he fled here. There was an attempted uprising in 1988 in Myanmar. That this man, Lin Yang, who the strain is named after, he basically helped organize a lot of the protests in that attempted. It was a democratic uprising. They were trying to have democracy installed in Myanmar. It was a very totalitarian, very, very authoritarian leadership that was going on in Myanmar at the time. So he organized some uprisings. Unfortunately, the uprising and the protests were unsuccessful.
Yeah.
So he had to flee. He ended up in Thailand for a while, ended up in one of their very brutal detention jails for Burmese refugees, and eventually he met this American family, and they helped him come to America, and he made just an amazing life for himself in this great country.
That's really awesome.
And eventually
your ability to recognize it and go get the story, not enough people know,
Oh, yeah. And especially looking up this uprising in a country across the world from 30 years ago, there was ended up being luckily a lot of research about this uprising. And so I got to do a lot of research into that uprising and what it led to in the country. Eventually democracy was installed, but even then there were a lot of issues from there. But it was amazing. I love just covering the human angle of stories as well. Because a lot of people think that, cannabis users in particular, and the stories behind cannabis, they're not very deep, they're not very personal. It's just
pot.
Yeah, it's just pot. Hey man, you like weed? Yeah, weed's cool, right? I'm glad that the diversity of consumers is as diverse and as complex as it is, because so many years ago when it was just the Cheech and Chong stereotype, that didn't do much to move the conversation forward with cannabis reform of any way. Because those in charge, they just saw cannabis users as, Cheech and Chong, Jeff Spicoli.
Stoners. Yeah. But there's some real professional, some consummate pros. In fact, a lot of us, you know what I mean? I'd reckon to say, maybe half. And it's really incredible. You're shining a light on such an incredibly wrong misinformation. One of the greatest in human history, perhaps.
Yeah, Reefer Madness.
Yo, it's insane. And you get to take this role in this incredibly historic time and just kind of re-inform the people. And that is one of the most important jobs of this era when it's all said and done. So you're becoming a legendary pothead. You know what I mean? It's happening. You're giving your energy and your time. It's working. Yo, my man, you earned it. So tell me about before you became a pot legend. whenever you had never smoked pot,
Uh,
and then
my,
all
my
of a sudden
innocent
you were
days,
like,
my innocent days before college, before all
yeah,
the rum drinking, my innocent days. Well, I mean, growing up, South Texas, basically Bible Belt. We grew up with the DARE program. We grew up with, we were a little past reefer madness, but it was still very illegal, very frowned upon, very stigmatized.
Every year in school, you get an anti-pot something.
Did you grow up with the DARE program?
Oh yeah,
I love the DARE program. What
the
a hilarious
the scare program.
We all let that lion down. What was the DARE mascot lion? We all let him down. We really did.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry,
if you're watching, sorry.
Yeah.
No, and you can see with the DARE program how ineffective it was. Just
same shit as the war on drugs, misinformation. But here's the amazing thing is the DARE program just didn't work. All it did was waste our time. More people, more kids our age, not kids. I shouldn't use that terminology. More young adults are consuming cannabis than cigarettes for the first time.
It's more natural. It's healthier.
Yeah. Not as like self-shaming.
But so I didn't really do it before college. I just like I said, heavily stigmatized. My parents really didn't want me getting into that. They just wanted me to finish school and then. I don't know. I don't want to say they expected me to eventually do it when I got to college, but I mean, it happens. If it happens, it happens. But either way, they've been incredibly supportive. So if they're watching, shout out mom and dad. They've been very supportive. Me moving out here, me getting involved in cannabis. They know I'm a user. A big reason my mom supported my move out here was because I was in Texas. There was a period where my mental health got very bad. Very poor. It was very just roller coaster. One day I was super peppy. The next day I was super bad. Still going to therapy. I was trying a variety of those pharmaceutical meds. The Wellbutrin, Cymbalta, Abilify, and I was just going even crazier.
Yeah.
From all those meds, and I'd use cannabis here and there, but when I actually started, noticing the effects positively on mental health, how I'd be freaking out. I'd take a few hits, and I'd just be like. Okay, today's not as scary as it once was. And that really helped. But at the same time, I was committing a crime because I was in Texas.
100%.
That, and the law doesn't care if you have a legitimate medical purpose for cannabis usage. The cops don't care.
Not in Texas.
Yeah, there's no legal protection, unfortunately. When it comes, you might find a lenient judge, maybe more closer to the cities. But still, ultimately, the Texas law is that you are committing a crime when you possess cannabis, when you consume cannabis in any form.
Yeah.
And so a big reason why my mom and my dad supported my move out here was to have safe and legal access. Yeah. So I could just go to a store and pick it up. I didn't have to worry about, LVPD catching me and, going to jail because of it.
Literally.
And so yeah, they were always really supportive, and I've not taken a single pharmaceutical anything since then.
It's honestly an amazing, catch-22 is, pot is the ultimate balancer. You can be all types of out of whack, but then whenever you consume some cannabis, somehow, some way, it just re-centers you. But the thing is, now you're thinking rationally again. And if you're in Texas, you're thinking...
You are unfortunately committing a crime. By Texas state constitution. It unfortunately is a crime. It gets really confusing. Part of what I still cover is events happening in Texas, law, politics. Luckily in Texas, legalization may happen sooner than most people think. Most people think it will never happen. So I like to think it'll happen sooner rather than later. Because a lot, it's still a pretty red state, more purple, but Republicans are still very much in charge there. But if you look at how they voted on previous cannabis measures in the state legislature, a lot of them have voted in favor of it. Low-level possession, low-level decriminalization, medical expansion, other, giving a civil fine instead of arrest and jail record and everything.
Which is huge.
And that's a big one, yeah. Decriminalization. They've supported that. So, but unfortunately, those in charge are still very anti-cannabis. So it's really just, the current officials need to be not in power anymore. Once younger representatives on both sides take power, then there will absolutely be federal will happen when younger representatives are in charge. I'm not gonna, I don't want to get too morose with how the current Senate and Congress seats will become available, especially for the older representatives.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say those seats will eventually be vacant. And young representatives just naturally will come in and take those seats. Yeah. And a lot of them will likely be way more pro-cannabis than their predecessor.
That was grim how you glanced over the fact that they're going to die.
I'm not saying that, but I'm like, the seats will be vacant eventually, and younger representatives will...
The old farts just not being adaptable enough.
Well, and it's an age issue, not a political issue. Mm-hmm. Because the older generations, no disrespect meant towards them, but they were raised on reefer madness. They were raised on assassin youth. All the false and very prejudiced, frankly, propaganda that Harry Anslinger pushed, and Hearst and his cronies. Unfortunately, they were super raised on that. So that, unfortunately, was the view on cannabis for many decades. And luckily, in their older years, they're, for the most part, some of them are starting to get around to it. Like my grandpa, fortunately passed away about 2 years ago. But he was a brilliant man, the classiest guy I ever met. But he was older. Unfortunately, he grew up with the whole reefer madness view. But eventually, his grandson started writing about it and moving out to Vegas to work in the industry. And towards the end of his life, I remember talking with him and just explaining to him how it's a legal industry. I have a W-2. I have health insurance. I go to a job every day for 8 hours a day. I come home. It's a full-time job. We have some holidays here and there. I file taxes. It's very legitimate.
It's legit.
And he, on my dad's side, my grandpa and his dad, my great-grandpa, they were business owners as well. They had a jewelry company called Florenza, which would be a great cannabis line. Yo. But if I ever make my own brand, I'm going to name it after their company, which was called Florenza.
Jewelry company.
So, whenever I have a cannabis line, that's what I'm calling it.
That's so dope.
And so he was a businessman, so he understood business ownership. Absolutely. And so I explained to him how, it's a lot of people are getting involved in the industry. It's a lot of job creation. And that's how you should talk to the older generations and maybe, the more conservative leaning about cannabis is from job creation, from an economic standpoint. All the tax revenue, all the job opportunities that it's provided, not just directly within the industry, but with the ancillary industry, the marketers, the labs, the other businesses that don't necessarily handle the product directly, but they offer services to cannabis companies that
like
do
this one.
Product. Yeah,
like the fucking like a morning show where we just smoke weed and talk about the magic that is this incredible plant.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's another plant on this planet deserving of this much attention. I'm sorry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of all the trees and it's incredible.
Yeah, it's helped me tremendously. It absolutely has. I can only imagine how much of a basket case I would be without it.
Fact. Me as well. It's insane. Why do you smoke it personally? Like, what
definitely
does it do for you?
Mentally, sometimes I can get a little antsy, anxious,
Same.
overstimulated,
Yeah.
So I just take a few hits of it and I can definitely feel like everything starts to slow down. It's not a speeding car anymore. It's driving at a comfortable pace.
Yeah.
And that's why I like cannabis as opposed to, once again, no offense meant towards benzodiazepines or those who use them, but with Xanax, there's another brand, Klonopin, another benzodiazepine brand. I took those once upon a time. I tried to, at least for my anxiety issues, but it would just pass me out. I would just be a
zombie.
That would be a zombie. It would take away my ability to communicate. It would take away my ability to, have a conversation, to hang out with people. I'd just be like a zombie, and then I'd just pass out. And so that's why I didn't really like the Xanax either, just because, I don't know, I'd just pass out from it. So cannabis is a great middle ground because I have the calming effects. The anxiety goes away, the stress, the overstimulation, it all goes away. But at the same time, I'm not, knocked out. Fact. So it's great.
I literally related to that so much. You know what I mean? That's
it just
why
helps.
I smoke too.
Well, at least with me, it's just calms everything down.
It's almost like our nerves begin to pop too fast.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? And it's overwhelming.
Creatively as well.
Yeah.
Especially more sativas. They're incredible for creativity.
I mean, you can come up with some shit. I've written
a number of articles and a number of videos as well.
Yeah, during
most of a novel.
Stoned.
Yeah, most of a novel I'm writing too.
That's so fucking good.
I hope
it'll be really good.
Yeah, I hope it still comes out well.
Yo, I'm fucking pumped. Tell me about what's the next steps? Like what's within your will to power in this industry? You know?
I think definitely I want to stay, journalism. I want to stay, covering what's going on locally, statewide, federally, hopefully internationally one day. Especially with the consumption lounges. Interviewing people who've gotten licenses, if they want to talk to me, I'd love to hear their plans, do an article about it.
Oh, yeah.
Especially all the social equity licensees now. I'm glad that, unlike when cannabis was first passed in 2016, that social equity has now been included.
Yeah.
It absolutely should be included. I mean, no legalization measure should be passed unless there is criminal justice reform measures, unless there's expungement, unless there's ability for people to get their records clean and have a true second chance at life.
Right.
I don't think any legalization measure should be passed unless there are those criminal reform measures in the bill as well.
Yeah, agreed.
But, covering that, I've been covering Native Americans in cannabis as well.
I love that.
Because, it's been a plant that's been grown for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
And
people don't think that it's researched or anybody knows. It's been around a lot longer than Tylenol.
Absolutely. And certain Native American communities have special purposes for it as well, because it is a natural plant. It is of the earth.
It's a sacrilege, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
deservedly so.
And so I've just been covering that. When I was at G4 Live recently, I did the one of the media panels, and I met a lady. She's starting the Indigenous Cannabis Coalition, or she already started it. Her name's Mary Jane Oatman. Definitely look her up. Shout out if you're watching. Awesome, awesome lady. Very, very involved in Indigenous people in cannabis. And so she was the first person I interviewed. And so she's been really helping me, connecting me to different Indigenous groups and people that are in cannabis. And
anthropology and cannabis.
It's
another great combination.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Incredibly.
Thousands of years ago to today. How it's being used.
Without stopping.
Yeah,
you think it's a long time doing 2,000 days in a row.
The Constitution was written on hemp paper. Yeah.
Oh, shit!
Yeah. George Washington grew hemp in his garden. A lot of the founding fathers.
Oh, yeah.
Hemp. It was a plant that was very, very much utilized.
Abe Lincoln smoked weed. Yeah, he did. He smoked sweet hemp. But yeah, that's incredible. And you like to write about all these different topics?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just different, how it's helped people in other ways as well. A big group that I really feel like is helping change the narrative, the perception narrative, however you want to call it, the stigma even on cannabis, are veterans. These are our heroes. They fought for our freedom. They fought for our country. They fought for our rights.
Fact.
And unfortunately, a lot of them come back with PTSD or with a variety of physical ailments. They go to the VA because the VA is a federal organization. They cannot use cannabis if they want to keep their benefits, and there's a lot of other ways in which VA benefits can be jeopardized by cannabis use.
That's so egregious.
And a lot of other, issues too, because the VA is a federal organization, because cannabis is still illegal at the federal level. And that's something else I cover with my work too, is that there are still a lot of issues that arise from cannabis being federally illegal, even in legal states.
Yeah, fact.
But yeah, so veterans, I really feel like they're helping change the narrative, because, like I said, these aren't the, lazy stoner stereotype. These are veterans. They're involved in their community, they have families, they have full-time jobs, they a lot of them are involved in their churches or other, religious institutions as well.
They're a lot of the best of us.
And
Selfless.
And truly, great members and very active members of their community. And so I really feel like, so many of them in Texas especially, every year go down to advocate for bills that come up in the legislature. I guess every 2 years. But they go down to Austin and, help advocate for these bills, talk to the representatives.
That's huge.
And, and they're down there, they're not the, lazy stoner stereotype at all.
No.
But here they are advocating for cannabis reform because this is the medicine that has helped them the most. And the laundry list of drugs from the VA didn't do anything. All these pills did nothing, but here's a plant and it transforms these people's lives and helps them with, everything. And, if we're talking about a group of people that deserve their medical rights, I mean, who more than veterans?
Veterans, right? Yeah. The most, honestly.
And also a lot of parents, medical refugees is what they're called, where either they had to move to a legal state because cannabis was illegal in their state, or it was one of their children that they were in an illegal state and their child had, a condition, and cannabis truly helped with that condition. Unfortunately, they're committing a crime, like similar to my story. Like if you possess and consume cannabis in an illegal state, unfortunately, you are committing a crime. That's just and you could be arrested and have an arrest record from there. So they had to pack up and move to a state where it's legal. A lot of families have done this. Those parents and those kids too.
Devastating.
They're really helping change the narrative.
Yeah.
Too.
It's got to be a lot easier for people to have safe and affordable access to their goods. Like, it is an incredibly magical and powerful plant that I'm so thankful that you cover, because the light needs to be shed upon it. And I hope it's not, I hope you get to cover it in all over the world. I want to hear a story about Israel and our motherland.
I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to.
Once they're legal.
It's medical.
It is.
I think it might be another few years before it's fully rec.
Yeah.
But I think it'll happen in the next few years. Probably around the time we do.
Yeah.
We're
racing.
No, the Israeli government, I mean, it's a little stereotypical, but, we're both Jews, so, it's a country mostly ran by Jews, so of course there's going to be a lot of arguments and elections and disagreements. And so there's been, 3 presidential elections in the past, 5 years. So there's a lot going on with, politics and arguments and everything. So I think that needs to be settled first, but, legal cannabis...
I think the person that comes in and legalizes pot will get the stead. Will stop the bleeding. No more changing the helm. Someone's gonna come in and send it, and that'll be the campaign that lasts.
If you think American politics are a mess, I mean, Israel's just everyone arguing with everyone all the time.
They need pot. They need a sesh.
Yeah, BB needs to light up.
Damn
no, just kidding. But no, I hope to be able to cover cannabis in Israel someday. I really do. If I could go to Tel Aviv, I'll go to Jerusalem, okay, but Tel Aviv is Miami,
Yeah.
And
you gotta hit them all.
Yeah, and then go around, maybe hit some nightclubs. Find out if Gal Gadot has any sisters or anything like that. No particular reason. But have some good falafel.
That'll be an absolute banger. But yeah, we gotta go.
Soup ganyot time.
Yeah, let's eat some soup ganyot.
Soup ganyot. So they are Israeli. I guess we'll use some paper towels.
Oh yeah, I'll grab.
So,
show the camera.
So they are an Israeli pastries. They are jelly donuts with some powdered sugar on top. They are very traditional for Hanukkah. I don't know the exact specialty and reason why we eat them, but they are delicious.
That's why.
So I recommend it. They are a great breakfast pastry as well. Assemblyman Yeager, if you are watching this, I know you love donuts. I highly recommend some Souf Gagnon. They're the best kind of donut.
Shout out Super Steve. Yo, he might. I'm going to tag him. I love that.
Oh yeah,
While we eat this, can we do the quick rips, do you think? 5 rapid fire questions.
Let's do it.
Yeah? Alright, so we're...
Toast?
Yeah, cheers.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Oh!
Absolutely.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. That's a banger.
Look at that, John.
Yo.
Hits the spot.
Absolutely slaps. Alright. So before we get the boy Josh, we're going to go and finish these bangers. I'm going to ask him 5 cannabis-related rapid-fire questions, or not cannabis-related. Who the fuck knows?
Either works.
Yo,
whatever you like to cover, brother.
Some rapid-fire quick rips with the boy Josh Kasoff, legendary cannabis journalist here in Las Vegas. Question number 1. What's your favorite day of Hanukkah?
Favorite day? Either the first or the last.
1 or 8?
1 or 8, yeah. I feel like growing up, that's when my parents would get like the banger of the Hanukkah present. That's when
they bring out the heat.
That's when they drop like the game system or like
Day 8.
the video game. Because my brother's only 2 years older than me, so we get pretty similar gifts.
Yeah.
We usually just get like a game system. Me and him would both use that a lot. So there's a gift for both of us. Or like they get him a video game that he liked and me one that I liked. So it was really easy there. But yeah, like day 1 or day 8 is when I feel like my parents would drop like
the banger.
That's
the interesting. I felt like it was more like a bell curve.
So day 3 or 4 was like the
4 or 5, yeah.
I could see that. No, for me, I don't know. It's either day 1 or day 8. That's usually when the biggest Hanukkah parties are too.
Yeah, true.
So,
true.
But
yeah,
this
they're
year,
all fun.
This year, it's every day. So
yeah, every day, all day, every day. All right, question 2. Your favorite terpene?
Terpene, myrcene. These days. Oh god! Every time I read the news, I need some myrcene. But terpinolene if I want to do something creative.
Yeah, if you're writing.
Yeah, caryophyllene and myrcene. I like the sinking feeling. I really like the sinking feeling sometimes. Couch lock can sometimes be very relaxing.
It is. It's a satisfying.
Just don't listen to like the Vecna music. In Stranger Things, like
yeah.
Like don't listen to that when you're couch locked because you might start tripping a little. But
it becomes life.
Yeah. Other than that, no. Definitely a combination of the 3.
I love that. All right, your favorite consumption method?
Ooh. Flower vaporizing got me through some tough days. And by tough days, I mean my boring old office job back in Dallas.
It's the best way.
No, it really is. Flower vape, because in an illegal state like Texas, you don't have nearly as much access to the vape pens and to extracts. You have to have flower and you have to
either roll it or pack a bowl or vape
get creative from there.
Yeah.
So I had an office job, so I couldn't go into work reeking of it. But luckily, there's flower vaporizer, and so that definitely diminishes the smell
a lot.
And so
it doesn't smell near as much.
I bring that with me to work. And I was doing data entry. It was just so boring.
You hit the car really quick.
Yes.
And it doesn't. It's not like
I had a smoke buddy.
There's no combustion.
I had a smoke buddy on top of that.
Wow.
So I was very smart about it. And so definitely probably flower vaporizer. I got a PAX recently.
They're amazing.
PAX is amazing.
Handheld vape. I love it. All right, question 4. Your favorite casino in Las Vegas?
Favorite casino?
Yeah.
I mean, Circa does have Saginaws, the Jewish deli.
I love it.
With the pastrami and
the matzo ball soup.
Ooh, you can never go wrong with it.
Yeah, shout out the boy Zach. I know
Zach. We miss you, brother. Wish you were here.
Yeah, that's his favorite drunk food.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's
so good. The Reuben, even though the Reuben isn't kosher, but Reuben's a great sandwich still though. I don't.
Shout out Saginaw,
Yeah,
man.
Saginaw is
No
amazing.
free shout outs, but free shout out.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Circa's great. New York. That's where my dad's side of the family is from. So I've been to New York a million times. So it's always fun walking around that hotel.
Gives you the vibe.
Statue of Liberty's, always great to see. I was there a few weeks ago. Yeah, it's so important, that building, Statue of Liberty. The story behind it, like engineering, is incredible.
I mean, it really is amazing.
Yeah. It was what my ancestors first saw when they got here.
It's insane.
And so New York, just going there like the old timey like New York feel. Trying to think, Bellagio. I just like walking around like
Which
especially
one?
Christmas time.
Give me one favorite.
Maybe Bellagio around like this time, like Christmas time, because they have all those like decorations and like the floral
And,
gardens and everything up.
Yeah, the
And
garden
it's
is
just like
amazing.
that's a whole free show there.
Agreed.
Of course, walking around Fremont Street, that's also a very free show.
Yeah, fact. All right, last but certainly not least, with the boy Josh. If you could have a sesh, smoking your vaporizer, with anybody in human history.
Human history.
Alive
this
or
is the
dead.
hardest question.
Yeah.
Alive or dead?
You get to summon a
I-
corpse if you want.
I mean, my family's Transylvanian. We could probably do that anyway.
No.
Anyone in history? Only one person?
Yep. You know who I said?
Who?
Jesus.
I mean,
He's a tribesman too.
He is, yeah.
Was. I mean,
Yeah.
shout out the boy Jesus. His birthday coming
It's
up.
coming up.
Yeah. He was the homie.
He was definitely Jewish. His mom thought he was the son of God. That's a very Jewish motherly thing. And
It is actually.
but what was I gonna say? No, I'm trying to think. One person throughout history, alive or dead. This is the hardest question. I'd be tied between Willie Nelson. I know we luckily still have Willie.
Yeah. That's a legend.
Most of them are just country singers, if we're going to be honest. Willie or Johnny Cash. Johnny's my ultimate artistic inspiration.
That would be an amazing set.
I wear dark colors a lot because of him. He's my absolute favorite musician. All his albums are great, from Hey Porter, when he was 23, 24 releasing music, all the way to Hurt and the posthumous albums he released with Rick Rubin, and now the Forever Words project as well. All these country singers are coming together to take Johnny's old poetry. His son found an old book of his poetry that he meant to turn into music, but for some reason never did. And he released it originally just as a book of poetry. I have it. It is beautiful. Every single poem on it, whether it's just a few verses or 2 pages, is beautiful. And so a lot of country singers are coming together, and this has been going on for a few years now, are coming together to take that poetry that Johnny Cash never turned into music, and they're making music into it.
Yeah, because of the amazing talent that he.
And
won.
so he was proof that you can be, you can still be patriotic, but at the same time you can be critical of certain aspects of this country.
Very.
And that's a very important.
I was at the Folsom prison. I wasn't in there, but that'd be a hell of a sesh.
Absolutely.
You and Johnny Cash toking the
he was in
Folsom
He
prison.
definitely supported, civil rights. He was big on prison reform. He didn't just perform in prison. He met with Nixon. He met with Reagan. He met with multiple presidents to talk about prison reform. He was big on Native American rights as well. He released multiple albums. The Bitter Tears album in particular was all about the atrocities and the injustices that Native American communities have felt and experienced for centuries now. He was super big on that. But at the same time, he was very patriotic. He saw how special this country is. He knew the greatness that this country is, and he wasn't afraid to talk about that as well. So I just feel like that's an important lesson, that you can still be critical of this country, but at the same time you can be patriotic. James Baldwin has a great quote about that I criticize this country because I care about this country.
Yeah.
And so, just
that's just balance.
Yeah. No side of the aisle should hijack patriotism. No side of the aisle should say that if you dare criticize this country, then you're a, anti-American, you hate everything else about this country. When No, that's not true at all. You know, my ancestors, I'm sure your ancestors too, fled here, right?
Yeah.
We didn't come here voluntarily. A lot of us fled here. You know, but they came to this country for a reason. So I always think about that. That, you know, even though obviously cannabis law needs to change, a lot of injustices in our criminal justice system happen that need to change. You know, 3 strikes law, cash bail. There's a lot in our criminal justice system that needs to change. You know, there's further social reforms that need to be done in our country as well. But at the same time, I am very patriotic. I know that there's a lot of greatness in this country. There's a lot of fantastic people. And that my ancestors, you know, yours as well. They came here for a reason.
Yeah.
And just remember how, you know, special this country is.
Balance is critical in everything. That's why we smoke pot. Give us the balance and the rationality. You know, having the appreciation and being satisfied where you are, but also, you know, striving for betterment always. And you certainly a spotlight of the balance, and I'm so excited to be connected and read all your work and follow your journey, and I'm just super appreciative you come and wake and bake with me, homie.
It's been an honor.
Yeah. Let's go eat some Sufgan Yot and celebrate the day, my man.
Yep. Wearing my Let's Get Lit sweater.
Let's get
like
lit.
a menorah.
Yeah. Tell them where they can find your awesome work, please.
Instagram, Captain Kassoff. Find me on YouTube as well. Just search my name, Josh Kassoff. You'll be able to find me. Are we rolling some dreidels?
No, I was pointing at your handle.
Down there.
Yeah.
Down there, I think.
Yeah.
Find me there. My articles are there. My link tree is there. If you have a good story or a good any article idea, let me know. I'd love to write about it. If you have an interesting story, or you come from somewhere interesting, especially if you have a strain yourself that you want to do, you want to tell me a story on, I'd love to cover that as well. You know, Native Americans in cannabis, diversity, social equity in cannabis, I love covering all of that as well. So if you have a story there, definitely reach out to me. Check me out in Vegas Cannabis, a couple other sites here and there, Texas Cannabis Collective, shout out to y'all. Just follow me on Instagram and YouTube, I'm there as well. So just find me there, and I will see y'all there. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. Die Hard is a Christmas movie, just remember that. It is a Christmas. It takes place during Christmas.
Damn straight.
It's better than all the Hallmark Christmas movies, right?
Yep.
I love
counts.
it, so.
Yo, let's watch some Die Hard.
All right. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year's.
Shout out Roll Gangsters.
Shout out. Have a good day, y'all. We love you.